but I just think now the Colts can really focus their attention on Alshon Jeffrey this week. It's not going to be good. Eddie Royal is active. Zach Miller is active, but there's a lot of guys in that Bears passing game that aren't healthy, and I think Alshon's going to be a guy that going to be in the crosshairs of that Colts defense, which is the 7th fewest fantasy points allowed to the wide receiver position. Denard Robinson in Jacksonville. TJ Yeldon's banged up, which it's unclear if he's going to be able to play this week, but it's not looking good for him, and that would put Denard Robinson square in the spotlight in that Jags backfield. We saw that last year from week 7 through 10, that month-long run there for Robinson. He was the number 5 fantasy running back, so we've seen him put up good numbers. We saw him jump in for Yeldon last week.
Patterson, Marlon Brown, Andre Caldwell, or Jennings?
Well, we need to have a moment.
I heard a Patterson in there.
Give me, well, I don't want Andre Brown.
Give me Patterson in a restraining order, please.
My guy's going to be Kristen Michael. I talked about it earlier. You got about till 5:30 p.m. Pacific time to make this deal, and then that trade window closed. I think he's still owned in over 3/4 of Yahoo leagues, but the Seahawks are so moving on from this guy. It's going to start today with TJ Procise.
They're so moving on, bro. Moving on.
Thomas Rawls back in the equation next week. Michael's going to be lucky to get 4 or 5 carries here, starting about a week from now. I'm going to go with Quincy Enunwa. I talked about him earlier. He's 24th in the league in targets, and I think he moves up that list this week with no Eric Decker there. I mentioned Pittsburgh's numbers when Big Ben's at home. Last 6 games, averaging 35.7 points per game. So I think there's no doubt the Jets are going to have to be throwing the ball. With no Decker there, Enunwa is going to probably get upwards of 10-plus targets. And I think it's going to work out well. Just this morning, my wife compared me to a used car salesman or a strip club owner. So you can imagine I'm so excited for the next 15 days of this month.
The Grease Weasel, by the way, forcing missed tackles on 42.5%.
I think you are now officially the Grease Weasel.
This is the Grease Weasel.
Yeah, I don't expect either of these guys, the choir boys, to have an STD, but if I'm going to pick one of them for this week in fantasy, look, I think Cincinnati, when they can run the ball and be very run-heavy, that's what they want to do. You just moved ahead of Loza again in the big word category, but and maybe appropriate that this made a big question mark, which seems to be very,
Here,
very...
I'll just finish it off.
There you go. Revis is alive and well. I know he's old, but man, he still looks good. He's rated as the number 3 cornerback by Pro Football Focus in pass coverage. He'll be on Keenan Allen because Keenan Allen is their biggest threat in the passing game, so I'm sure the Patriots will have him assigned to him often in this game. Look, I'm going to take the under here, and even if he does go over, it doesn't mean a whole lot. It's not going to be upside. It's going to get like 7 yards a catch. You don't want to play him this week. We're looking at a few guys that are crying out for your attention on the fantasy waiver wire and fantasy baseball, and the first guy I have to talk about is Devin Travis, a second baseman in Toronto. This is a guy coming into the season, basically had played about a full season's worth at the MLB level, hitting over 300 in that time, 19 home runs. He was drafted in 98% of Yahoo leagues.
We have a bit of breaking news this morning, and for that, we kick it out to Brandon Funston. Brandon, what do you have for us?
That's right, Nicole. Well, unlike our current American political environment, I think that accountability and fact-checking is important. So when Brad Evans throws out something like, I was a big RG3 supporter in the preseason, I think it's important that that doesn't go unchecked. You can actually type in on an internet search 2016 Yahoo preseason fantasy football rankings. A link will come up and it'll show Brad Evans ranking RG3 13th with no other person in the Yahoo group ranking him higher than 20th.